All right, let's go and take a look at some of the different brush modes that we have available for Flash's paintbrush tool. And again, there's a lot of them. They're all found underneath this brush mode drop-down menu. Once again, down at the bottom of the toolbox. I'm going to make sure that I'm on paint normal here. And by the way, what I did here is I once again toasted everything that was on the Flash stage. Again, Command A or Control A and delete. And the other thing that I did is I switched my brush shape back to the regular old circle there. And I also cranked up the size of my brush so that you can actually see what I'm doing here. Okay, now these different brush modes, let's kind of dig into this here. Let's start off with the first one here, Paint Normal. Make sure that's the guy that you're on. I think this guy is fairly self-explanatory. As the name implies, it's going to paint normal paint, right? So what that means, though, is that it's going to paint without any extra effects or anything like this. So it's going to paint over top of fills and strokes and empty areas on the stage. Now, bear with me because I want to give you a really quick example of what I'm talking about here. I'm going to go and grab my pencil tool for a second. Now, don't forget the pencil tool draws strokes, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw out real quick here, just some quick strokes, some quick lines, something like this. And then what I'll do is I'll grab my paintbrush tool. Now, don't forget the brush tool draws with fills, right, or creates fills. So the green lines that I've created here are fills, and the blue lines are strokes, right? I hope you're following me here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I still have the brush tool selected inside the toolbox. I'm going to go back to the fill color swatch, and I'm going to choose a different fill color. I'm going to go with red here. And just to double check, my brush mode is set to paint normal. So what I'm going to do is I'm essentially going to intersect all of my fills and strokes, something like this, right? And of course, I'm not doing the greatest job here. That's okay. It's more about showing you exactly what the paint normal option does. So what happens here, and you're going to find this, by the way, the more we dig into Flash, the more bizarre this behavior seems to become, is it paints over top of the fills, doesn't it? The green lines, right? So now I have red over top of green, but check out what it did to the strokes. It actually broke the strokes. It broke the lines, right? Like this. So it doesn't necessarily paint over top of strokes. It breaks strokes, which is incredibly bizarre. And as far as I've ever seen, completely unique to Flash as well. Now, this relates to Flash's drawing models. We'll get into that in just a little while, but just kind of keep this in the back of your mind anyway. Okay, so there you go. That is the paint normal mode. Now, let's check out our paint fills. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit Command A or Control A, delete everything off of my screen here. I'm going to, once again, draw in some lines and some strokes with the paintbrush and the pencil tool here. So just give me a second here. I'm doing red fills with my paintbrush. I'm going to grab my pencil tool now and do some blue strokes, something like this, right? There we go. All right, good stuff. Go back to your paintbrush tool and go ahead and choose a different fill. Maybe I'll flip back to that green that I had previously. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my brush mode now from paint normal to paint fills. Now, what paint fills is going to do is it's only going to paint in empty areas of the stage and our red fills, leaving the strokes, the blue lines, unscathed or untouched, right? So give this a try. I'm just going to intersect all these guys one more time, something like this, right? Making a bit of a mess out of it. That's okay. Let go of my mouse. And what happens is my green fill that I just created is now moved behind the blue lines. Does that make sense? So that's the deal there. That's what's happening. And by the way, I know that the examples I'm showing you here with lines and strokes and stripes and things is really, really simple. It's really more about getting the concept down first, then applying it to something a little bit more major, like an animation or an interface. So it's important for you to know exactly how these modes work first, right? Okay. A few more here to go that I'm going to show you. I'm going to select all again, Command A, Control A, hit delete on my keyboard. What I'm going to do now, I want to show you the next modifier or the next brush mode called paint behind. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to draw in sort of a quick blob of color, something like this. Now in the real world, again, this could be an interface element. This could be a button in a menu, something like this, right? There we go. I'm going to head down to the bottom area of the toolbox, and I'm going to change this now to paint behind. And as the name suggests, it's actually going to paint behind my fills and my strokes. So I'm going to go and change my fill color here so you can see this work here. I'm going to wind up painting in something like this, right? Right across the full green blob. Let go. And my red blob is now moved behind the green blob or behind any objects, right? Again, it could be any kind of an object. Okay, hope that's working for you there. Okay. I'm going to select everything. Now, the next option that we have, by the way, I selected everything by hitting Command-A or Control-A, no big deal. The next option that we have is Paint Selection. Now, we haven't talked about selecting objects yet. This is as far as we've gotten with selecting objects, hitting Command-A or Control-A. But what I can do is I can actually select an object inside my animation and then begin painting it. And only that selected object would wind up getting painted. Nothing else would wind up getting painted inside my Flash file, including the white areas of the stage in the background. Notice I'm really cutting into the white there, but only my selection, which is the green and red blobs, wind up getting selected. Does that make sense? It's pretty bizarre. It's kind of weird. Anyway, there you go. There's a look at not all of the different brush modes, but there's a good handful of them anyway. You might want to practice them a little bit, but there you go. There's messing around with the brush tool and the different brush modes.